When we look at how skeletal muscles work, it helps to think of them as bundle of long fibers that shorten when they receive a signal from a motor neuron. And this shortening pulls on bones to create movement, and the whole process depends on a careful structure inside each fiber and steady supply of energy. A muscle is made of many fascicles, and each fascicle contains many muscle fibers, and each fiber is a long cell with many nuclei that supports high energy needs. And inside these fibers, we have thin and thick filaments arranged in repeating units called sarcomeres. And these sarcomeres are the basic units that shorten when the muscle contracts. And thinking of muscle as layers of bundles helps explain how strength and control come from the same structure. The sarcomere is made of two main filaments, actin, which is thin, and myosin, which is thick. And these filaments overlap inside each sarcomere. And when the muscle contracts, the filaments slide past each other, making the sarcomere shorter without changing the length of the filaments themselves. And this repeating arrangement gives muscle its striped appearance under a microscope and supports organized movement. The neuromuscular junction is the place where a motor neuron communicates with the muscle fiber, and the neuron releases a chemical messenger called acetylcholine when a nerve signal arrives. And this acetylcholine binds the receptors on the muscular fiber and triggers an electrical change that spreads across the muscle membranes. And this step is important because the muscle cannot contract unless it receives this chemical signal. After the signal reaches the muscle fiber, it travels down small tube called T tubules and reaches the which stores calcium, and the signal causes the release of calcium into the cytoplasm, and the calcium binds the troponin on the actin filament, moving tropomyosin out of the way. And once the binding sites are exposed, the myosin heads can attach the actin and start the contraction process. The sliding filament mechanism explains how the muscle actually shortens, and it happens when the myosin heads attach to actin, pull the actin toward the center of the sarcomere, and then detach and repeat the cycle. And this cycle requires ATP at several steps, including attachment, pulling, and release. And as more sarcomeres shorten at the same time, the whole muscle fiber shortens and produces force. ATP is essential for muscle function, and the myosin heads need ATP to detach from actin so they can reset and attach again. And ATP is also needed to pump calcium back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum after the contraction ends, helping the muscle relax. And without enough ATP, the cycle cannot continue and the muscle would stay stiff, which is why energy supply is so important. The muscle uses different energy systems depending on how long the activity lasts, and the immediate system uses stored ATP and creatine phosphate to supply quick bursts of energy for a few seconds, and the short term system breaks down glucose without oxygen, giving fast energy but producing lactic acid. And the long term system uses oxygen in the mitochondria to produce large amounts of ATP for sustained activity like walking or steady exercise. Muscle fatigue occurs when the muscle cannot maintain the same force And this can happen because ATP begins to run low. Calcium handling becomes less efficient and metabolic hydrants byproducts interfere with the contraction process. And the recovery depends on restoring ATP stores, clearing waste products, replacing oxygen used during activity, and allowing calcium regulation to return to normal. And this process can take a short time or much longer depending on the intensity of the work. The design of skeletal muscle, from the arrangement of sarcomeres and the placement of microbacteria, mitochondria, and the organization of fibers, allows the body to produce controlled movements with precision and strength. The nerves provide signals at the right time. Calcium allows the contraction cycle to start, and ATP drives these entire processes. And when all these parts work together, muscles can respond quickly, maintain posture, and support almost every movement the body makes.